The girl I'm in love with is an idiot, but it's not her fault even though she is an adult. So, let's go with Ria. I've known Ria for almost 15 years as I once dated her older sister for a year. We were very young, but I remember Ria being very mature, very smart, very down-to-earth, and without realizing I kind of started to think about her romantically, even though I was a teenager and Lord knows if even a fire hydrant was too curvy. Anyway, well, I break up with her sister, and life goes on. Fast forward 10-ish years, and Ria has been dating my best friend for about a year and a half. My best friend is in a very toxic point in his life. Addicted to drugs, losing most of his friends, and just being an all-around piece of shit to everyone but me. I end up moving in with them due to circumstances, and come to find out these two have just been living off basically scraps under her family's generosity in her deceased grandparents' house. I'm not picky, so things are good for the most part, ups and downs, but the worst of it is my best friend's drug habits becoming violent and belligerent towards Ria. Now bros before hoes, yeah, I get that, but not here. Ria is a few years younger than the two of us, and when I met here she was sweet and honest. At this point in the story, she is sadly addicted to hardcore drugs and going in and out of psychosis on a day-to-day basis, and sometimes becoming toxic and violent herself. I go into Big Brother mode and I end up defending Ria daily for a few months, and also being the only one bringing income into the house as well as food and toiletries, etc. For reasons too complicated for this post, I awaken to romantic feelings for Ria, although I feel like for obvious reasons. I didn't know abuse victims were stubborn to say the least, so things go south, and I end up moving out. Fast forward a year and a half, and Ria texts me something like, "I want my life back," and we have a little back and forth until I get a call one day from the best friend. Apparently they got in a fight and she is in jail. I go visit her in jail, and apparently she had 27 blunt strikes to the head, a dislocated jaw, and multiple other injuries. But she took a swing with a meat cleaver at dude, so she is in jail. I still don't really know what happened. It's all very confusing and cryptic answers and reasons from both sides. Anyway, she gets out of jail, and we connect, we hook up, but I do a very stupid thing. She has been sober 2 months from her time in jail, and I can tell it's made a huge difference, especially because she is ready to give us a try and move on, and my dumbass gives her drugs, which at the time I thought would be a good way to kind of ease the conversation, because we have had a pretty rocky relationship and I'm a bit awkward. This immediately bites me in the ass as she kind of instantly morphs into the abuse victim from years before, suddenly defending her abuser and saying that she regrets giving us a chance. I spent this past summer trying to pick her brain to figure out what the hell is going on, all under the influence, and basically I was shooting myself in the foot for 3 months, and I'm ashamed. And now Ria is completely in defense mode, siding with my now ex-best friend and even testifying to keep him out of prison, and she completely refuses to admit anything he has done to her is enough to end their relationship. She often says things like, "He really has to work on that," or, "Yeah, I wish he wouldn't do that," instead saying the obvious things like, "I need to get the fuck away from this guy before he hurts me again." Her family is unable to do anything, and I am the closest person to her. And I'm also kind of really in love with her, which has definitely not helped, as you can imagine. Just briefly, I should add that Ria is very receptive to my romantic interest, but when drugs are involved, they just make her this weird version of herself that lives and breathes for her abuser, and she refuses any and all influence that go against them being together. It's literally night and day, which you think would be obvious immediately, but she refuses to admit that drugs and her do not mix well. Anyway, her family and I have both tried to convince her day in and day out that the guy is the problem, and that has made her defensive attitude so much worse. She has become increasingly arrogant and dismissive. The dude is currently in some kind of lockdown facility, so her contact with her abuser is little to none, and I feel like I should basically just ignore her wishes and be as heavy-handed as possible in deterring her reconnecting with him, and try to promote positive mental health with exercise and venting, etc., but still kind of pursue a relationship with her in the long run. I realize an AA-type meeting or an abused women's meeting is probably going to be better for her than my armchair therapy, but I do have some doubts considering her arrogance and pride right now are through the roof. So I don't know how effective an open speaking meeting would be for her. And she also picked up a mean habit of lying thanks to dude, so I'm sure she would just try to get out of it. Awesome, right? And just for context, Ria cannot hold her drugs. She is a complete ditz, often belligerent and downright stupid. But sometimes she seems fine, and she's an adult, so it has been hard to outright say no. So that's where a lot of issue stems from, especially because she has no self-control. So basically, if it's to protect her and make her life better, can I just act like I know better for her and ignore what she wants? I've been on the fence about it for a while now, even asking her family for permission, to which they replied, by all means. I do not want to treat her like her abuser did, and I want to have a healthy relationship in the future, but do I have to step up and be that guy? I am currently just waiting for the drugs to leave her system completely, so this may all just be pointless speculation, and she may just go back to normal. I really hope she just goes back to normal because this shit is exhausting. I could fill a book with the extra details, but that's all.